Captain Spish. She knew I helped dogs and saved their lives. That's confidence and strength in the dog world.
Teach me, oh wise one.
Because nothing learns through punishment. It learns through reward. And a lot of times I'm dealing with dogs no one else will help.
Oh my.
Every dog should have these basic skills.
Yeah, I mean, trust seems like the biggest step for any of this.
You defeat the energy. You pop that bubble of anxiety. We know you're scared. Here's what you do about your fear. That's true power in the dog world. Welcome to the Captain Spish Dog Behavior Podcast. I'm Kyle Adams, aka Captain Spish. I'm here with Tommy.
Yep, Tommy Doolin, the one and only, the one who's always here.
Tommy Doolin. And
T.T.
we have on the phone, she's currently muted, which I'm sure you know. People wish they could do to me sometimes. But anyway, my sister Felicia Kruse, pardon me. Last name's changed, of course, when you get married. But we're about to talk about heart dogs and what is that and what does it mean to you? It means something pretty specific to me, and I'll explain that in a minute. But instead, let's introduce Felicia Kruse. Hey, Felicia, you're alive. Kinda.
Hey. How are you guys
recorded. Doing? We're doing great.
Yep. No.
Yeah, you remember Tommy when Felicia's known Tommy as well for a while.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about forever ago. Forever in a day, no less.
2006, 7. Yep. Yeah, Felicia went when I tried to record Akito Kobayashi's guide to the holidays, Christmas. Rode around with me and Tommy and his friend dressed as a samurai and trying to figure out Christmas and did donuts in your 2001 Geo Tracker.
Oh my gosh.
Or did you have the rodeo?
All about that.
Yeah, I know. I forget about it sometimes too. Yeah,
my pink one or my blue one?
The blue one.
The blue one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't do donuts very well. It was heavy and had a 4-cylinder.
No.
It was more
That
comfortable.
one died in Los Angeles.
Oh, did it? The engine blow up or something?
Yeah. I think it seized, yeah.
Oy. Wow.
It just flicked us off. It was like, I'm done. I hate LA.
Cars do that sometimes. So anyway, I think Felicia and I definitely have had heart dogs, and Tommy hasn't had the opportunity yet, if he will in the future.
I definitely haven't had one, but
Felicia even had to ask, what's a heart dog? Because it's kind of a real dog community thing to even think about. Yeah, Tommy doesn't do dogs, not like he doesn't like them. He just, his lifestyle.
My lifestyle is not very facilitating of a four-legged friend of any kind.
Yeah, even cats would be just too much financial burden right now, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like a lot of people out there, I'm sure, can relate. But yeah, so to me, a heart dog is a dog that came into your life when you were at your most difficult part of your life, or right before, or where you really, really needed somebody to love you even when you felt you couldn't be loved, or when people were mistreating you and you were completely and utterly alone. Those kind of situations, and you go through the real tough trials of your life, with most of us do, and in our 20s, 30s. Hopefully not beyond that, but it can happen anytime. But I've been fortunate enough to have at least a couple, a few heart dogs. And I'll get into that too. It's like why somebody can have more than one and some people only have one, and it's a mix of luck and so on. But in my opinion too, the truest heart dogs are when the dog needs you as much, if not even more so, than you need them. Where there's a connection, and the dog does things for you that no other dog before or since has done. They understand you and they follow your lead, when no other dog should understand such things. So to me, it's just a very, very, very special dog and a very, very special relationship. And I think you've had that with your little Chihuahua Belle. That was like one of the smallest Chihuahuas I've worked with ever. She had an apple head, and she was tricolor, wasn't she, or just tan and black?
Tricolor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She had a white little star on her chest and a little bit of white on her little belly.
You can hold her in one hand. It's on her chest.
So wait, hold on. I gotta ask, when you said apple head, I mean, like, the head was in the shape of an apple, or it was the size of an apple? Like,
so they categorize Chihuahuas between a deer head and an apple head. And Belle had more of an apple-shaped head, and not the
their head's like the
snarly fang teeth like a deer head. Like that's how I describe a deer head is they have more of the elongated snout and they're more snarly looking like vampires.
Yeah.
I've never heard of dogs
so
categorized
technical.
by head, so that's kind of a new new thing
Pit
for
bulls
me.
are the same way. Like American Staffordshires, they have a shovel head or a dome head, right?
Shovel head or a jug head.
Jug head. That's
And every breed, at least the ones
Edit
I
that
know of,
out.
have usually head differentiation shapes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we just plead out there? Come up with better name. Jughead. I mean,
Well, it looks like
seriously.
the jug head looks like a
Archie.
milk jug where it's very blocky, and the stop where the nose and eye meet is very pronounced and flat, so it looks like where the handle would go for a milk jug.
my
And a shovel head
Yeah,
is where it's a
and
flat
shovel is even
rectangular
cooler.
shape where the stop is gentle and it swoops and the nose swoops up, so it looks like a shovel.
I really hope there's no dogs out there categorized as dickheads. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
there-
throw that out there right now.
Yeah, that's separate from breed.
Oh, okay.
That happens in all breeds.
Okay.
Well, and the bull terrier have like they have different shapes of head too, with a more of a Roman nose where it curves from the forehead all the way around, and some have more of a stop. And there's all kinds of they're like this bull terrier looks like a ferret. You know, its head's more like a ferret, or this one's like a polar bear, or this one's like a rat. And so yeah,
See, now people are just pulling stuff out of their butt. I mean,
I know,
seriously.
that's just words.
Okay.
Language and
Just
words are
make
to
it crap
describe
up.
something, even if it
sound
doesn't make
cool.
sense. Yeah. So, how did
But
Belle
smile
help
and nod
you?
so much.
How did
you
she
know-
come into your life?
I think hindsight, Belle helped me tremendously, and she was able to help others.
Hmm.
But how did Belle come into my life was, again, with hindsight, was I say that my ex-partner was, he owned half of her, which was the part that pooped. And
He was full of it
I
anyway.
owned the part that gave kisses. So
Oh.
she came into my life, I think, as a bribe in hindsight, but she really fulfilled a part of me that I didn't even know was missing, was that I needed unconditional love and acceptance, where she was not condemning, she wasn't judgmental of me, and I don't like the word judgment as much as I like condemnation, is that she gave me hope. She made me feel like I belonged no matter how awful I thought of myself. And it just felt like I could do no wrong. And I needed that. I think everyone needs that.
Yeah, that's what animals provide. I mean, you know they don't have any ulterior motives. That
No, they gain nothing from it. They don't benefit in a prosperous way.
even if they did, they wouldn't
definitely have
understand that.
consequences. Right.
Yeah.
Like, people, we have consequences whether we like it or not, and we rebel against that fact. And our actions have positive or negative, no matter what we want or like, or even acknowledge. But I think with animals, it's just such a surrender of innocence that they're there for you, even when they shouldn't be, according to a person's point of view. But I think for the world, like, I don't know, you probably have better words than me. Kyle,
They
but
don't weigh whether you deserve that love.
Yeah,
You're
There's-
there,
it's
and they
unconditional.
see that you have feelings, and they have empathy about that, regardless of they don't weigh whether you're a good person, a bad person, or what that even means. It's you're just a living being.
you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't assign any more emotions or feelings to your emotions or feelings than necessary. They just
And I
understand
think-
you have a problem.
I think what I learned from Belle is that I am the odd man out when it comes to the human race, is that I tend to give people a lot more of myself than they might deserve. And I feel like there has to be better words for this, but because it sounds very arrogant and prideful, and I don't think that's what
No, don't worry about that.
It's fine. You just sound like Kyle. It's no big deal. Keep it up.
Aw. Well, I love
Sometimes
Kyle and
truth is
proud of
truth,
him.
whether
I
it
think
sounds
that-
arrogant or not.
I think that if we could all have some sort of understanding for each other, whether we agree or disagree, it does not factor in, but just being kind, acknowledging, trying to understand the other person, the other party, for just the basic fact that when we die, we die. How we die is irrelevant. We all bleed and we all end. So I prefer to be making good memories and to accept people for who they are, not how I want them to be,
Yeah.
including myself. And I feel like the older I get, the more I'm realizing this is all more centered in on me of I need to be softer. I need to be nicer to myself because I am not nice. I am nice to everyone else, and then I forget.
Being mean makes you live longer, though.
Maybe.
It preserves the juices and all. No, yeah, I always tell people that with rehabilitating an animal, you have to look beyond what the animal's doing to you, and you have to see through all that, and you have to tolerate and even I kind of envision their feelings and their reactions to be like ocean waves, and you need to be the rock that they crash upon, and you split those emotions. You let them crash upon you, let them weigh upon you, and then it sloshes off. And in the end, the waves will die down, and the real person, a real animal, is there. And you have to tolerate those reactions and know how much is that it's not really personal, even if it seems personal. And to not waste emotions and energy on fighting a perceived emotional attack against you or an insult against you or your pride, that they're just reacting to something. They have pain emotionally or physically, and they're reacting to that naturally. And really, people are not much different.
Yes.
You have to take and tolerate and see through that pain they're giving you because it was given to them. And instead of giving it back, you give back compassion and questions and a desire to understand.
Curiosity.
Yeah, and say, hey, it's okay to be that way and feel that way. And,
like, why do you think you feel that way?
And sometimes it's, hey, it's not okay to treat me that way, but who hurt you? What happened?
Right.
I feel guilty.
Having boundaries is good.
There are times I look at my kids and I'm like, oh dear, what in the world did I just do? Because I have to apologize to them. It is not okay for me to talk to you that way, even though I'm your mom. No one should talk to you the way that you get talked to sometimes, whether it's the outside world or me. But there is right and there is wrong in my point of view. And I don't want someone talking to the kids the way that I've been at times. And I think, even my children show me the same kind of unconditional love that my animals have, my pets, is that they are full of hope until you crush their spirit. I think there's a difference between...
That sounds metal as hell.
There's a difference between an animal where I've seen animals who just fight to the death. Like, they'll hold on, like, they'll never give up on their person. But I think people inevitably do give up. They realize they've had enough. And that can show up different ways of suicidal ideation. It can show up as they hold on for dear life. Like, even though they shouldn't, they won't let go because they think it's the right thing to do. But I think there's something about compassion where if you can get curious and ask, well, what makes you feel like that's the right thing to do? What makes you think that that is going to make things better? Like, what is your end game? What's your hope? So I think over my lifetime so far, I know I'm not that old yet, but I'm 43 and I feel like I should be 83, there's undying hope that if I just keep trying. But I'm learning that trying doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It means learning. It means understanding a lot more than I used to. And it means asking questions. It means reaching out to other people and not being stuck in my old ways of thinking. And it's just hope. That's the only word I know for it.
Yeah. Yeah, just resilience and trying to have a plan and definitely help you out.
I read this article about resilience. Is that resilience is actually just trauma high functioning trauma. Oh my god. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I mean, that's an
A
interesting
good
way,
way
to
to
look
see
at
it
it.
as resilience is when you have your arm mangled, but you still drag it around with you. Doesn't mean your arm's not mangled. It just means that you keep moving anyway. It doesn't mean doesn't necessarily mean you even have strength or anything else. It's kind of a natural
Yeah,
survival reaction.
it's just there. And I think what animals are different in contrast to human beings is that animals somehow have this way of, it's not moving forward as much as it's accepting.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't know. I had a thought. You keep talking. I might come back to me.
Yeah, dogs and animals do seem to they have simpler thought processes, so they're more prone to accept a reality no matter how inconvenient or painful it is, to adapt to it, and their nervous system works differently than ours too. So when a person has an injury, say they fell and stabbed their leg or they're bleeding, we assign all kinds of meanings to it, like I was stupid and I fell, or somebody stabbed me and I'm mad at them, or oh, they want to hurt me, and you know the injury you have, you know the muscle it's cut through, you know the vein it might be cut through, you know you might bleed to death. So there's all this emotional baggage assigned to the pain, and animals don't really see it that way. So humans have much more agony and pain because of our emotional assignments to the injury itself. And that's really true suffering and pain, in my opinion, is resisting or being upset about the pain. And animals take the injury and they feel the pain and they kind of accept it the best they can. And they don't wallow in it typically. Now, there are some cases I've seen dogs definitely milk an injury, but that's a reverberation of our own empathies, though. They're like, oh, poor girl and poor dog, and then they start feeling it too, and they and dogs mirror us. So if we walk around, there's dogs that act like their leg's broken because they see their human is walking around with a cast and hopping on one leg, so they mirror just like apes do to each other.
I was gonna say that.
So if you empathize, they will empathize back, and they'll milk the injury.
Yeah, I was gonna say that reminds me of like when dogs sometimes when they sit on the couch, you see them sit on their butt with their legs spread out like you do and whatnot. Like
Bull Terrier do that all the time.
Yeah, it's like, really, you're gonna imitate me? I don't look that bad, and then they just kind of sink in a little more to emphasize the point. Like,
stick their gut out.
Yeah,
this is you.
They start they start barking and demanding a beer, and you're just like, yeah, I'll go get you one. And then you're like, wait a second, you talk?
I think something about an animal helps you perceive yourself correctly, maybe finally, for once, is that they just accept who you are, and they give you this motivation that says, fine, if that's how it is, I can do this. And I think that, you know, it's what I expect of the human race, and I am severely disappointed constantly with that, but it is what my expectation is. It's the bar that I set for my kids is go find something good to do. Look for ways to be the helpers. And I think animals do that. I don't know if it's intentional for them, but I feel like they're here for a reason, and we can learn how to better interact with one another if we could just be understanding, calm, kind, just the way we want to be treated. Is that we need some compassion, some kindness, some grace, and forgiveness too. Is I screw up a lot, and my kids, I ask them, please forgive me, because that is not how anyone should treat you, especially your mom. And I'm proud of them, and I am humbled by them, because they always tell me, it's okay, I understand. And I think that's the key to it all, is that we understand each other. We don't have to agree with it, but we can understand.
Well, to me, grace is to have such a high level of forgiveness that the idea of forgiveness never even has entered your mind.
Right.
you instantaneous while something negative is being done to you, understand and accept and don't react in the most genuine way. There's nothing riled inside of you at all.
Yeah, because like forgiveness
And
almost
it's mixed
implies
with
that
understanding
you're mad
yourself.
and harboring it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like with my kids, I don't think about all, and I have a list.
I understand now and
Plan.
in the moment. And dogs definitely are highly gracious because of
Yeah,
that.
and I think until I even bring it up, I don't think my kids even consider I need to forgive my mom for being a bitch. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
you just did, so
I
it
did.
don't matter.
I mark these as explicit content on YouTube, so it's all right. You kidding me? Tommy and I in the same show? There's going to be some fucking cussing.
There's way worse,
right
and
now.
I should teach drivers that. I'm just saying. But um,
It's not made for
So-
kids, folks. It's real talk.
I just think that, how you perceive one another is part upbringing. And then I think some of it's innate is who you are. Like, I look at my boys compared to my daughter. I'm like, my daughter's a dog. And not in the bad sense, but she's like
She's a
so
dog.
sweet. She's intuitive. And she laughs at the whole Barbie girl song. But she's just like, she's how I hope that the world could be, but I know isn't. But I'm not going to quit trying.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what hard dogs do is they save us from our despair. They give us perspective. They give us a better way of responding to our pain. Not that we ignore it, but we accept it. We're gracious to ourselves and to those that hurt us and move on. You kick some dirt over that shit and move on.
There you go.
And you go find something good to do, which is
Yeah,
infuriating, I think, to my now 13-year-old. Something shifted with her brain being 13 is that she's super extra irritable, but the concept has been planted. The seed is growing. The fruit is starting to show is that she is aware that she has a job to do, and it's to find the next good thing. Go find something good to do.
Yeah, I always, quote myself is that if you want to be honored, you should not worry about seeking honor, but give it away. If you want to be respected, respect others. Don't look for respect in return. And it's
Respect
just
yourself.
and that's kind of what I see as when you're saying, well, if you've been hurt and so on, go do something good. To me, if you want to heal yourself, you can't focus on your own injuries. You have to go and heal
Look for
someone
ways
else.
to serve other people. Yep.
Yep. And that's kind of what Hiro did for me. My heart dog was to acknowledge my fear of the world because of what I went through and see that same fear in him for similar reasons. And to accept that fear and to override it because one of us had to quit being afraid of the world. And it wasn't going to be Hiro. He's just a dog. So,
You're the leader.
Yeah, I had to find a way to push through that
Give them a
fear
path forward.
and that pain first. Yes. So, in healing him, I
with
healed
Belle,
myself to some extent.
With Belle, when she had to have her surgery because of her abuse from our past, was...
Yep, she was hurt too by your ex.
Yeah, it took her a long time to trust men.
Yeah, didn't she get her knee
Specifically, my
damaged?
husband. Yeah, she had to have she had the same surgery I had, but for a dog. Right knee reconstruction. And it was, the veterinarian almost took her away from me. They called animal services.
Because it was obvious abuse.
Yeah, because the x-rays that they took and the ultrasounds that they did were clearly abuse. It was not it wasn't because she would jump up and off of furniture. It was because of abuse. And she had old wounds that were clear on the x-rays.
She was so little.
Oh, wow.
She was
the size of this microphone. Like
her fattest day was 6.5 pounds.
She's like that big around.
Jeez.
Yeah, that big around her chest. She was tiny, and she was so sweet. And she had a little bark that sounded kind of like Dino on Flintstones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She was very cute. She was very
then my
brave. She's one of the
husband-
bravest small dogs I've ever known.
Thank you. She I feel like our pets mirror us. And
They
when you
gladly go
say
along
that,
for the
I
ride
feel
with you.
honored. Hmm.
They go through the pain and suffering you do too, and they'll be there for you, and that's all they want to be is there.
And my husband, he's 6'4" and I'm 5 feet tall. And there are, there are a lot of theories out there, but one of the funniest ones, I don't know if it's a theory, but one of the funniest things is that I had a good friend who she married a short guy and she's like 6'2" and her husband's 5'8", short in her opinion. But
Is it
she was
Allison?
like, "What?" Yeah. She's like, "How is it possible that you ended up with a 6'4" guy? Why did you do that?" I'm like, "Probably 'cause I don't care. I don't." But I think it's funny because Belle Belle was so loving. Like she didn't hold your past against you. She just loved you because she knew who you were. And I think of myself that way is that I see the good in people whether anyone else does or not, and I prefer life that way.
There's no
I
other way to bring
prefer
that out in anyone else, though.
Mm-hmm.
If no one sees
yeah,
it, they don't use it. And some people are bitter and angry because no one acknowledges their experience and no one accepts that bitterness and anger as a valid reaction to what they went through. And when people do that and then show compassion in spite of whatever rudeness or grumpiness you express, that's true love and healing. And when that's not given, it just makes it worse. Salt in the wound.
that was the first cry of my heart when I found out about things in my past was that I don't want to be a bitter old dad.
Hmm.
And I called you and I was like, I need your help because I need to protect our person who doesn't seem to know what she's doing. And I didn't want to be angry and bitter. I just wanted to protect her and move forward. And I think that we did a good job accomplishing that,
Yeah.
whether that's acknowledged or not. But
Right. Yeah, we
I,
definitely tried our best, and I know from her perspective that being in a twisted situation that
it'll vary.
she saw it as an attack, but if she only knew
Uh-huh.
she only knew what we felt like doing in some ways, and then
The
what we
end
actually
game was
did.
protection.
Well, it was, and my whole game was to protect you and her as well.
Yep.
Some from each other and from worse consequences. I just wanted to be somewhere either of you could rest and be safe from the other or anyone else, whatever the situation
So
was.
I feel like this is a weird concept for me. I don't know how to like really process it. Is that I bought half of Belle and the other person bought half of Belle, and that's why I make my jokes. Is because I tend to, in psychological terms, I tend to dismiss my. I forget what it is now. I dismiss my credibility and my performance. But I always say I bought the better half of her, which was the front half, the love and kisses, her heart and kisses, and he got to clean up the poop. But
I remember you saying that when you first got her.
uh-huh. And it's probably because in the weird part of our brain is that part that is aware, but the conscious part that's not aware is that I knew what was going on, but I didn't want or know how to
Hmm.
accept it.
Yeah.
And I think that Belle really helped me work through that was just, it's okay because what you think something might be isn't necessarily true. And for me, it was, I thought I knew what love was, but thankfully it was not what I thought it was. And I am glad to be wrong.
Yeah, and I
Um,
don't know how well you would have, or how soon you would have gotten that message without the love of a dog like
I,
Belle.
I think I would be dead by now.
Probably.
Um,
Hiro definitely saved my life.
I think 2 spine surgeries, 2 uterine surgeries, and a right knee reconstruction. I'm pretty sure that points to dead.
Yeah.
And
Dude, does sound pretty
Well,
awful.
Hiro and,
you're
and
like, what?
Hiro and Belle were puppies together. We got them pretty much at
Yep.
the same time, and they were best friends.
Yeah.
And Belle gave Hiro
She
the
would hide
opportunity
under
to
him.
learn to be gentle and to not smash little dogs. And
Yep.
he would get
She'd
down real
hide
low
under
and be all
him like he
gentle.
was a table.
Yeah, he was strength. That's what
A
Hiro
table of
means, sturdy and
strength.
tolerant.
Yeah.
Sacrificial for others.
And Bell, I'm assuming meant Taco Bell, right? Because it was a Chihuahua.
It was before
No,
the name was
I had
popular.
Beast. I had my Bengal cat.
Yeah, we had a Bengal cat. He was F5. So,
And by the
yeah,
time
it's fifth generation.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said F5 as in like that was his name because he causes chaos and destruction in a
No, he was a
manner
Bengal
never
cat.
before
Yes,
seen.
he did.
He was a like an American short hair mixed with a Asian forest cat, which is a wild
Yes.
cat. And he was the fifth
He
generation
was
removed
Persian.
from that.
Okay.
Yep, he was Persian mixed with he was a
Persian.
Persian and Russian blue were one side of his
He was
family,
sleek and
then
spotted.
Asian forest cat.
He
Yeah.
had what they call rosettes, which are little markings or little circles of dots. And if you touched that cat, it felt like a boa constrictor.
Oh,
Like
he was
just
awesome.
muscle. Just
Dang.
he looked fluffy. You touched him.
18 pounds.
Yeah. He's
He was
powerful.
Big
18
boy.
pounds,
So she
and
had
then Belle was
Beast,
6.
and then she had Belle, which means beauty in Italian.
I
Bella.
follow now.
Beast
See,
and Belle.
honestly, after I did the Taco Bell joke and she said beef,
You're
I thought
hungry?
she said beef. So I was like,
Tommy and I are
hold
hungry.
on. You named one after the meat that they serve. Okay, well, that's not what I was going for.
We're
but
recording this while
quiero
during
Taco
lunch, so yo quiero Taco Bell.
I think we're hungry.
Yo quiero Captain Spish.
They all do.
And on that note, we're going to disconnect the call now. And
No, so to me, so creating a heart dog, so because of my connection with the dogs and my understanding of them, and that's my career, and that I pretty much am constantly suffering emotionally. So, no matter what, I'm constantly trying to heal from past injuries, and which are numbered and varied. But the more you want to connect with a dog, and you're seeking to accept them for who they are, and to
Your mindset matters.
yeah, you don't want to compare them to the other dogs, but you also know what kind of work you put in and to those other dogs, and the compassion and love you had to do for them, which is easy to forget because you go 15 years if you're lucky between puppies.
Yep.
And so you can facilitate connecting with the dog and creating multiple heart dogs. So I had Hiro, I had Mimo, and I have Kobun, and they all connect in a different way to my heart for different reasons. They're
Like
equal but
scaffolding.
different, And Hiro, of course, was my first heart dog. So not really even my first heart dog. Really, Cupcake was my first heart dog, which is our pit bull we grew up with. I have there's a painting that one of our favorite people that her name's Letha Cup, that she has a little company called Gypsy Soul, and she was the one who officiated our wedding. So she married us in our yard back here.
Okay.
But she sent me a oil painting or some kind of painting, and it's made through random process, and it is a spitting image of Cupcake in it. So it's pretty cool. You believe in spiritual things. There's to me, there's a connection there. To me, I have ancestors that follow me as spirit guides, and certain dogs that just are always there for me and for the dogs. So that's probably where I get a lot of the grounding into that. But so she was kind of my first one. But Hiro was the one that I needed the most of any of them during that time in my life. So he gets some extra points.
Like with Belle, she didn't just help me, but when I worked at the dentist, who was like my dad, he told me at one point, he's like, just bring your dog to work.
Talking about Pavey?
No, Cobb. So he was like, Pavey helped me get to Cobb, but Cobb was the one who was like, just bring your dog. Quit the drama. I'm like, fine. So I brought Belle to work. And then the same exact day I brought Belle to work, he was like, we call them white knuckle patients because they terrified at dentists.
Grit and deal, yeah.
And he's like, go get your dog. And I'm like, what are you talking about? OSHA. And that was my job of OSHA.
Cross-contamination, cleanliness,
just go get your dog. And I'm like, dude, fine. So I asked the patient, is it okay? And they said yes. And then that was Belle's path for the rest of her time with me, was she would sit on patients' laps and people would just pet her, anxiously pet her, and over and over. And she just sat there and let them
She's
do it.
tolerant as heck. She's
And
so
no
brave
one
and
believed
tolerant.
she was a Chihuahua.
Hmm.
They all believed that she was like some mini pincher mix or something. And I'm like,
She
okay,
wasn't a
if you treat your
shivering.
dog like a dog, it'll
Yeah.
be a dog.
She wasn't a shivering, scared dog, except for brief, certain times
She
when
wasn't
there's
an
good
ankle
reason.
biter.
She wasn't bitey or nippy or overly fearful.
And she knew my two older children. And it wasn't until like the day that we had to go help her not be in pain. And she never snarled at my kids. They would pet her, they'd lay on her, with her. She loved those kids. And I have pictures of the kids with her together and videos where if they had a little bit of a cough, she'd be right there and she'd be all worried and she'd talk to me. It was like,
Yeah, I
and
remember
she'd
that.
just talk.
And she'd
And it was like she was trying to make sure I knew that they needed me.
Yeah.
And those I think are the special animals, but I think really what they teach us is how to be special ourselves, is to stop being so self-centered that we look outward and we listen to what's going on.
And that ties back to the episode I had about
Yep.
listen to your dog episode. And it was about, and that's how one way you facilitate a heart dog is by looking deeper, listening
Being
more.
present.
You need and you expect more from them, and they do that for you. And that's one of the marks of a heart dog, is doing things that no dog should know how to do, that connects with you and your family and your friends in ways that just seems more. It's something greater than. And a true heart dog
That's what I
connects.
feel like.
They bring good people into your life. That's part of the healing they can bring to you. And they connect with and touch other people's lives and save other lives, or other dogs' lives in Hiro's case.
I feel like that's my daughter too. She's like my heart buddy. I don't know what we call her, but she's a lot that way, of just she's always on the lookout for the good, and she's always trying to be there for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to teach her how to be there for herself. So maybe I'm a heart dog. Maybe I've learned some good things from my dog.
We should all have those features for each other, and that's ultimately
Yes.
what I kind of alluded to at the beginning, and what I'm kind of talking about now is that you facilitate those connections through open-mindedness and heart, and understanding your own boundaries, understanding your own failures, forgiveness for
And it
yourself,
takes
forgiveness for
vulnerability.
others, grace for yourself, compassion for yourself, so you can share that with others. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be compassionate to someone else while at the same time being bitter against yourself. It just doesn't work.
I think it takes a lot of vulnerability, of just being accepting of the fact that if I let someone in, they can hurt me again. But it's worth it if I have grown, if I have learned to still keep moving forward and to not give up,
I think
because I'm a better me because of it.
the better me to me is that you accept that whoever you accept in your life will, not just might, but they will hurt you.
They will. Yep.
And even if that hurt is only at the very end because they leave, it's still, they're going to hurt you. Love isn't free.
It comes and goes.
Yeah, it costs what you gain. And with the dogs, you always gain more than you give to them, no matter how much you try to give them.
And you keep choosing. I feel like that's a big part of it, is that you keep choosing that dog. You keep choosing that hope. You keep choosing that love. You keep choosing that path forward of not just, I mean, we all crumble, we all fall down, we all quit for a time frame, but we keep getting up. And that's what I tell my kids with baby steps, is that babies fall down over and over again, but eventually with practice, they learn to run. And good Lord, they're fast. Like, I can't keep up. But one day you were strong enough to lead someone else and to give them the same hope. And I think that it's a domino effect in life, is that if you are there for yourself, and if you let other people in, the safe people, and you learn your boundaries, you learn what you want, and you prioritize those things, then that creates a life of more like an elliptical, not so much a circle. I don't know, but it just gives you your people. You get to be loved, and you get to share your love.
Yeah, like one of my clients I see is like basically my surrogate dad / uncle is Greg Bell. And, I wouldn't have him in my life if it wasn't for Hiro giving me a purpose. And, because we each choose our own purpose. I don't think anyone's born intrinsically for any particular thing. But
well, I don't know. Liam Neeson does have a very particular set of skills that I think he was born for.
Some people seem
so
to.
I don't think anybody else could ever do that except him. So I disagree with you. Some people are born knowing what they're good at.
Yes.
Some people are.
I think there are some who are.
You cosmically were chosen to do something.
I think the rest of us just learn as we go. Hopefully.
Yeah. And for everything else, there's MasterCard.
Everyone should hope for a simple life where, you are able to provide for yourself and you have family and friends, and people who pursue riches and everything else make no sense to me.
I have a lot of commercials in my head. Live and learn and then get love. That is my catchphrase for the kids is live and learn.
And then learn that you have to just deal with shit.
Yes, pretty much.
And
no matter what you
when
like,
you have to do that, you Charmin.
If you get old enough, you're gonna get back in the diapers.
I forgot about the commercial.
Yep.
That's true. We all everything's in a spectrum. Everything's a bell curve. You go shitting your pants to be able to wipe yourself, to not having to worry about that, to having to wipe yourself and then shit your pants again and then die.
Yep, it's a cycle.
Well, I mean, I would hope that whenever you go to the bathroom, you do wipe yourself.
You would hope.
If you're capable.
I would hope. I don't know. You've known him longer than I have, so you could tell me if he does or doesn't. But
she used to come up when I would spring a leak, when Mom would take my underwear off and just squirt, and she'd cup it and stop it. Try to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've taught my 3-year-old, you douche.
What? Well, that was quick.
While driving, he does it.
He is a douche.
I'm like, good
oh,
job.
okay.
Axel's kind of a douche.
Well. Yes, he mispronounces his name quite often, and I'm like, it's close enough.
Self-labeling.
It means peace. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I want peace. I want kindness. I have an undying hope that if people could just understand each other, it would all be okay.
Yeah, that's the beginning. Understanding isn't good enough, though. And I think a lot of people misconstrue understanding with condonement or agreement. I think that's been way too synonymous, and people need to realize, no, you should always seek to understand. Even if you vehemently disagree, even if you know what is wrong, you still know. People still have motivations, even if they're bad ones. People have beliefs they have for bad reasons, but they still have beliefs. And that's one of the most frustrating things in life. But understanding, and because with understanding, you can form a plan on that. You can know how to move forward. You know how to deal. You know how to protect without being overly defensive. Depending on the situation.
I think adding to that is constantly being willing and open to reevaluating your life and your beliefs is part of the learning process that not everyone wants to pursue. Is they lack a curiosity, they lack a basic kindness of empathy and compassion that I think the more crap you've gone through in life, the more you can understand and relate to other people, whether you agree or not. But you can at least be kind.
Well,
you could say, yeah, that sucks.
Studies have proven that indoctrination, that's its goal, and what it does is it damages your ability to realize what is reality. It kills curiosity. It actually makes you afraid to be curious. Indoctrination and religions and cults all are the same. They want you to quit thinking independently. They want you not to trust your feelings, not to trust outside information.
Which inevitably leads to...
And so you have non-curious adults that are rigid in their mind and their thoughts, that are stuck in one way of believing, and they will stay there no matter how it's proven against the cognitive dissonance. Is just insane.
Which produces a generation of suicidal ideation.
Oh, yeah.
And enacting that thought is where's the hope? What's the point? What are we trying to
I have to
know?
deal with. I mean, I love science. I love curiosity. I love learning. That's one reason why some people think I'm a know-it-all is because I get to know a lot because I want to know a lot, and that's part of the rage I'm dealing with right now is that I was literally intentionally robbed of reality, robbed of science, robbed of logic. I was lied to and twisted, and I resent that. I hate that. One of my favorite parts of myself was kept in the dark for so long and kept under wraps and made to feel guilty and judged and shamed for something that actually is very honorable and amiable, such as being curious and challenging your own ideas and being willing to change your mind.
And I think that you have done a really good job of trying to pursue all of what you feel like you missed out on. It's just there's there's so many options that, and there's so many different ways of viewing what has gone on that I love you and I'm proud of you.
Oh,
Oh.
we got a real all moment here. I don't know. All I've gathered from what y'all been talking about is that these people that are like that could probably use a heart dog themselves, honestly.
Yes, they could. But it
They
takes
could, but I
them
feel
to
bad
be
for 'em.
willing to reciprocate.
Yeah.
I think some people just miss out on that because they're just not open to it. And it's more sad for them than it is for
There's
the
some,
people who have
and, there,
experienced it.
and there's so many people that are abusers for
Yeah, they
various
don't
reasons.
know.
There's narcissism where they
Maybe
can't
they're
even
not
see
aware.
their own faults. They don't realize they need
Hmm.
to have compassion and connection with others, and that other people are important too. And just because you're narcissistic doesn't mean you have a narcissistic the disorder.
It doesn't mean there's no hope.
And even if you have the
Mm-hmm.
disorder, it doesn't make you a bad person. Everyone
I
needs to
will.
cope with their own personality details and flaws, or whatever you want to see them as.
I will always have hope for other people. I've said this my whole life since I can remember any memories is as long as you're breathing, there's still hope.
Yeah,
There's hope to learn, there's hope to experience, and through experience is how we tend to learn worst.
well, I
I don't
say,
like to say we learn best,
yeah,
but we learn the worst because it means something finally. Is the pain that we experience hopefully leads us to enlightenment and a better path moving forward to be there for other people and especially ourselves. And
yeah,
I think once we can honor ourselves and be kind about our past and have that to offer other people, I think that's where the hope really comes into play. Is we don't just cut people off because we disagree, but we extend that hope and grace and compassion that we have needed ourselves. And it keeps the cycle
yeah.
positive.
And that's what the dogs give us that example of, and that opportunity to rest and heal, and not to at least have someone that we don't have to protect ourselves against or program ourselves from bad ideas from
Right.
or any of that, and
Yeah.
just that grace and compassion is necessary. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So I
It's-
think that brings you full circle to what a heart dog should do is
Yeah.
just
and I don't
accept.
I don't know if
Encourage.
I would say it's a shame that we need a dog
Yes.
to do that when it should be people, that we should have people in our lives that give us what those heart dogs can give us.
Totally agree.
But
I see
people
what you're
That's
saying
what I
with
feel
that,
like
and I
I
don't
talk-
think it sounds bad. Like the way you're saying it, it's like I want to say
Not to
this, but I
insult the
don't want it to
dogs.
sound bad. But I
Yeah.
think everybody can agree. Honestly, it's like we understand what you're saying. It's like people should be doing that for people.
Yeah.
But
and I'm talking about myself here, and that's what my job, my business is based in, is giving the love to people and the compassion to people that Hiro gave to me.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think you're insulting. I don't think anybody else would ever think that either. We get what you're saying.
Yeah,
But you know what? If dogs can do it and people can't, well,
and not
So
saying
be it.
I do it perfectly, but I try.
you do all right.
You are.
So I have this microfiber cloth here.
microfiber
Sop it
for.
up.
See, that's like not even the best thing to use for
Suck
your
up the
face for
snot.
that. I mean, maybe like a.
Oh, it's absorbent. It's great. It's like suck.
I just don't. I don't like the feel of microfiber. Like it just feels
Either.
feels wrong.
It's like
It's
tiny
like
paper.
It's like cotton. Cotton feels wrong to me.
Well,
Ugh.
take microfiber cloths and wash them before you use them, and they won't be sticky to like Velcro
You
to your
get like
skin.
a big white thing under your
That's a whole different
under your right eye.
episode.
Am I right? Oh,
That's a whole different episode of
Microfiber
sensory disorder. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought of. I need to do a little more research about it, but doggy autism has definitely been something that's come up a few times in the
Wow.
briefly in the
I feel
podcast
less
here.
alone.
Yeah, and well, there's certain markers in certain dogs that match the same markers, genetic markers that are in autistic people, and they can have sensory overload, and which I think Kobun gets, and emotional
true.
overload and texture overload and all kinds of
No,
things.
yeah, I agree
It's
with
really
that.
hard to see in dogs because of it.
So, definitely sensory overload. And I hope to learn more as we go to occupational therapy starting tomorrow. But,
That's soon, huh?
yep, I'm looking
Did-
forward to some better ways of coping.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, is one of her children autistic then, or is this
I
just
am
something
on
else?
and my older two are.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's something that I've recently become aware of about myself, and it's been quite
Remember
a
we said
process.
understanding brings compassion, forgiveness,
Yeah.
and a plan.
Yeah.
So understanding yourself, like knowing why you feel and react the way you do, is very important.
And like just the dissociation of a lot of things and the forgetfulness, the overwhelm, the sensory overload, the why does no one understand me? Is like, why does everybody think I'm mad? I'm like, I'm not mad. I'm totally fine and happy.
Yeah, resting
But
bitch face is
RBF.
an autistic
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Oh my God, she's sounding exactly like my girlfriend, with her autistic children and everything else.
Yes.
Because people don't understand her, she has issues. Sometimes she's done all this research into it, and then
Yes.
she's got to correct people on it. Like, no,
Yes.
it's this. See,
Like-
she's like sounding exactly like her right now.
I met some people on Friday night who were like, autistic people are so effing smart. And I'm like, not me.
all of them.
I'm not. And she's like, you're not autistic then. And I'm like,
What?
Okay.
Stop talking
Is
to
that
me.
like saying
Thanks,
anybody
doctor.
who has a mental handicap is like Rain Man? I mean,
I
there's
feel
different
like
varying levels.
Remember
It's
about the
more
bell
like-
curve?
my brain is weird. I'm just saying.
Well,
But I think it's like telling somebody who's had a leg amputation to get up and walk and pretend that you didn't have an amputation.
It's a legitimate
And-
modification.
Just suck it up. You're fine. Nothing happened. But
Well, people think
to
you're
the
lazy
extreme of
and all
that
kinds of
is
things.
like-
No, it's autism. It's
And I think-
ADHD.
I think there's a lot more hope now because so many people are willing to share their experiences. Whereas like our parents' age, that generation and beyond before us, they're like so dead
Well-
set against this idea that something's wrong. And
Yeah.
we're not saying we're broken, we're saying we're different.
Well, there's a
we're
mix.
saying accept who we are because we are who we are. Deal with it.
Yeah, well,
It doesn't mean we need to be accommodated for or babied. It just means I'm not like you and I don't need to be.
Well, our parents have two problems. It's generational, where if you are autistic,
Like a
all they
sin.
know is it's the R word.
Uh-huh.
That how
Uh-huh.
dare you suggest I'm autistic? I'm not.
That
R,
and depression.
and then the religious aspect. Yeah, if anything's wrong with you,
It's
then
the
it means
S word.
that you're cursed. It's sin in your life
Yep.
doing that, and that you brought it on yourself and all this other crap, and it's so fucking bullshit. It's
But
just-
ironically, I'm just going to throw this out there on the religious aspect is
Mom and
that
dad are both autistic, in my opinion.
well,
I might be autistic.
think-
I know I have complex post-traumatic stress syndrome.
I think across the board religiously is if you want to go that route, I can meet you there, is the renewing of the mind, the changing of the heart. That's what psychology and psychiatry is. So, booyah.
Oh, I don't know. All I gotta say
So-
is it's a spectrum for a reason. Everybody has a different variation of it. My girlfriend, she has her oldest son is autistic, and then her middle child is actually nonverbal autistic. So that's already like two different spectrums right there. Yes. Two different forms of understanding that she's had to educate herself on and everything else. And both of them are great kids. I love them to death.
Rejection dysmorphia and other things too.
I'm just fat. I cover a large spectrum, if you would.
Spheroid.
Area.
Gravitational.
I think really it's just how you perceive things. And instead of perceiving being on the spectrum as a negative, like a handicap, it's not a disability. It's a superpower. And it makes me different from the average person because I think differently. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And we need more of that.
It's not a bad thing. It just means I am Felicia. I'm not you. So deal with it. You either like me or you don't. Yeah. And that's kind of part of what makes me on the spectrum is I love or hate. There's really not much in between.
The black and white thinking comes with some of that. Yeah, and it's just and dogs can be in the same spectrums, and
I think so.
Heart dogs love you anyway, and that's I think people like with undiagnosed mental health issues and or differential like neurodivergency need animals even more because the animals they don't have all that baggage and worries and concerns.
Like I love my animals. I love how I've had the benefit of having so many pets as I was growing up. But with my allergies, is what the hell? And B,
Cats
maybe it's A point. One is just I don't miss having to clean up poop. And I don't miss the whole cross-contamination part that I have been indoctrinated with of OSHA and with dental assisting as a background of just my job was just make sure things were sanitized. I don't miss having a pet in my home.
You have 3 kids. You don't need pets. I'm not saying that everyone needs to or everyone that has mental health issues or neurodivergency or autism or anything needs a pet of their own, but you need exposure to something or someone that doesn't care about all that crap.
And I found that my release was through equine therapy because I could go
Horses
there
are magical.
and leave it. I could go and benefit and I could bond, but then I didn't have to bring it into the house and have to have extra sensory overload.
Yeah, that brings up the other type of heart animal or heart dog because it doesn't have to be a dog. But I've had plenty of different people pets I've known and clients I've had that have had animals they've had extremely special connections with that they didn't live with and they didn't own. So
I gave an orchid to I'm weird, okay? I am totally weird and people either appreciate me or they don't. But our what was she? She was our notary to buy this house here and she's in San Antonio. But I had this orchid at Lucy's birthday. It's been 1, 2, 3, almost 4 years ago, I think, maybe 4 years ago now. But I gave the notary my orchid. Now, you know my background a bit, Kyle. I have a black thumb. I am not
murder.
I am a murderer, yes, of plants.
So you're the complete opposite of Kyle when it comes to plants and gardening.
I think I took all of her gardening capabilities. She kills cacti.
So, it's pretty much the ADHD, I think, is really what it is. Is like out of sight, out of mind. If you're not in my face dying in front of me, I don't notice. And I've had this orchid from a lady. This lady is an herbologist. I think I said that correctly. And she still keeps in touch with me. But the plant I gave to the...
Mommy.
What?
You
can edit, right?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't usually.
So, come on. So, I have no idea what he said to me. But I gave my orchid to this lady, and my excitement is that I didn't murder my orchid. And apparently orchids are very hard to keep alive. They're a difficult plant to keep. But I never killed the poor stupid thing, and it was really pretty at the same time. So I don't know. It's like games. I don't play games. I really don't care. But the plant was named Donna, and I think of Mamma Mia. Donna, Mamma Mia. But I keep in touch with our notary public, and even after moving here, she was like, I'm so excited for you. She grew up in Chicago, and she's wanting to move back to the Midwest, so she was excited and jealous. But I'm like, how are you doing? And I am really annoying to people, whether they want me to in their life or not. I don't know how to not be in their lives when I love them. And our older brother is one of those people of, I use Arbor Day as a reason to reach out. I'm just saying. So bite me if you don't like it, but I am who I am, and I love you. So deal with it. And I do care, and I have you in my own brain calendar. I don't need a calendar to remember things, and I remember birthdays, but I just think it's funny because I didn't kill my orchid. The lady named her Donna, and I keep in touch with my orchid. And so far, it's not dead.
Yeah,
but
that's funny too.
That can be a heart animal, so to speak, of what you choose to focus on, whether it's good or bad, is what you tend to. It's karma, kind of.
Well, it's a nurturing relationship, regardless.
Yeah.
You care about the things that facilitate its not only living but thriving. It then rewards you in return through thriving and being robust and new growth. And so for me, it's vegetable gardens and things. So it's the fruits. And I literally go out and talk to my garden, tell how beautiful it is and how it's doing a great job and stuff like that. And
because I carry up my plants.
Take care of each other.
I life.
Then winter comes around, I let them die brutally in the cold.
I just imagine every plant she has at home is like, kill me.
I don't have any right now.
Water me. And it looks like, quit watering me.
I don't know. Dean wanted me to buy one at Kroger today. It was a little tiny orchid, and he was remembering the orchid I didn't kill, and that's what he said to me today. He's like, Mom.
The orchid who lived.
That's literally what he said. Mom, it's like the orchid you kill.
It's Harry Orchid.
Lived. And I'm like, I don't want to spend $10 on a plant.
Voldemort.
I really don't care. But
several wand, it's a watering can.
I think of my past where I felt such shame and anger towards myself, and no one else put that on me except for me. But I felt angry. I felt
the culture we grew up in kind of facilitated that to some extent.
I felt all of these negative thoughts towards myself, and I am learning to be softer with myself.
Our religion taught us that we were pieces of shit and we didn't deserve love. And that God loved us in spite of us being crap.
I think it was just
a part
everything.
Of it, I guarantee
it was public school. It was
you're being a woman.
Every outside
That's good
information. Yeah, pretty much.
How dare
and
you
it might
be a woman?
Be just that simple. Mm-hmm. But honestly, it was just what is wrong with you? Why can't you grow a plant? What is wrong with you? Why don't you want to play Uno?
Yeah, in our family.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And it wasn't just mom and dad. It was it was everything. Every outside source for me, except for Aunt Pat and Uncle Ty, who they encouraged me to hope for something else.
Aunt Pat was kind of like my heart person too.
Whether they were right or wrong about everything, that doesn't matter to me. But for me, it was enough that it gave me hope. It gave me courage. It gave me encouragement. But it was all of the positives.
Affirmation.
Yeah. And I am more of a quality person, and I still, whether it's the religious aspect or not, I still think the 5 love languages apply to people. I am a quality time person. I want to know what motivates you. Even if I hate it.
My complaint about that book
even if I think you're a jackass, I want to know.
My complaint about that book isn't that it's religious as much as that it's incomplete, but I'm glad that at least they hit the major. Yeah, it's a spectrum as well, and people can be blends of those things. But
yes,
no, it's not a harmful
better focus, I think, than the people who just have no concept of self-awareness.
Yeah,
and then I think there's people who are on the spectrum who I think it's been very stigmatized and negative perception that if you're on the spectrum of any neurodivergent disorder, is that something's wrong with you. But really, I think maybe we feel a little deeper. Maybe we think a little deeper. I don't know. But something's different.
Yeah.
And it's not always a bad thing. Different doesn't.
I get really frustrated with people I call basic bitches. And I think it's because some people are so normal that they're not forced to think or examine feelings or how people treat them or how they treat others, and they just skate through life just oblivious and hurtful and strange, and to me that's strange. But everything in my life I've had to think about every little thing about how I think and how I act and treat other people. And Mom used to tell me, well, how would you want to be treated in this situation? It's like exactly how I treated them, because she'd tell me, well, that's hurtful, or that's mean, or that's rude. It's like, no, it's not
information.
It may hurt, it may suck, but that's what I want people to do for me. So I can't go by that rule of I need to treat others the way I want to be treated, because nobody wants to be treated the way I want to be treated.
It can get skewed.
Yeah.
But for me, I need that input. I need people to be direct of, I pretend, and I think masking or camouflaging are the two things I've been told. But I've learned that, it's unacceptable if I tell the truth. It's unacceptable if I give a boundary. It's unacceptable. I will be isolated if I am who I am.
I was given that same thing too in life, but I think it was more subtle and for different reasons.
I think I experienced more as an adult, like an adolescent, but learning through work experience as a dental assistant is that I came in contact with so many different professionals, career professionals, is that, there was just a way that you were supposed to behave, and that was it. That's all. I learned
you
how to
do
math.
Get that a lot, yeah.
I
have to do that in my profession too. And
I keep telling my husband is that you created this monster.
See, I have to bring with my business. I have to be professional, but yet bring in my personal life and stories where it applies, and also then. But I have to clean it, scrub it, and redefine it, and it's very difficult to do.
My husband told me, even with our older brother, is 12 years ago at this point, is that quit apologizing. Did you intend to do something wrong? And he was on the honor board with the academy. So it's okay, hang on. Motive, intent. No, I did not intend to hurt anyone. My motive was pure. It was not to injure. It wasn't to cause a fight. I didn't do anything wrong. So therefore, I don't need to apologize. And which is something that I grew up with was, I'm sorry for. But it's a fine line that I walk with my kids and my relationships, is that I'm sorry. I recognize it might have taken me a long time, but I recognize that this hurt you and that was not my intention. Or sometimes the fact is it was my intention, but I'm still sorry because I can see it hurt you.
Yeah.
I think everyone, if they're honest, is we have had plenty of moments in our lives where we meant
to be snapping
harm.
Or lashing out. Yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes that's a useful thing in a conversation or with somebody, because some people are so rigid that they won't move forward. They won't accept your point of view or validate you or soften themselves to you until you've smacked them verbally.
It's usually through exasperation.
You wake them up and see how you feel? Yeah. That's how you've been making me feel. Quit it. I don't talk to you that way. And that's usually
what it is.
Don't talk to me that way.
It's just, I'm so exasperated. I'm so exhausted from feeling this way over and over again that I'm going to do it to you and see how you like it.
Yeah. And sometimes I do some similar things with the dogs. Like when they weapon bark at me, I'll do it back sometimes. Bark. Yeah. Some dogs weaponize a bark where it's a really abrupt,
aggressive,
quick, abrupt, loud, pitchy thing they know will disrupt you, disturb you.
I'm assuming that'll be covered when we do a whole episode on barking and all the different meanings behind that, right?
Probably. The barking thing, I don't know if I'll make a separate episode, but maybe.
I think we should at least address it at some point, either as a full episode or one of the Patreon specials.
Barking,
like
a Patreon
teasing.
special.
Like, my in-laws think it's funny to teach my kids.
Teasing.
Like,
I thought you said teasing.
I have always called and considered this teasing, but my in-laws would be like, when my kids would be 3-6 months old, oh, that's a dog. Rawr, 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 rawr. And they'd make the dog barking sound when they heard the dog barking. They're in proximity to the dog that's barking. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
What if I did that to you? And so I do it to them, and they're like all mad at me, and I'm like, well,
or more accurately, mock them in their pitch and tone, and cartoonize it, and say some stupid stuff they say. And
pretty sure they're on the spectrum because there's a lack of pitch and tone. So
probably.
Thank you.
We are very animated. I notice all of us Adam's kids. Especially
only
you and
when I'm making fun of people.
Especially you and I, we modulate our voice. You remember that
That's
cousin we had?
Echolalia.
Well, the cousin we had that was like, "You're singing." It's like, I'm not singing. I'm speaking.
No, that was Megan, our niece.
Okay.
Yeah, she would tell Kara that, "Oh, mommy, somebody's calling and they're singing to me," and I'm like,
TJ's very monotonal.
I don't think I sound like I'm singing right now, but this is how I talk to her. Most of the time, I get accused of sounding robotic, and I'm like, excuse me, but I have inflection.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly. Inflection.
Just because you don't like how I sound, believe me, I can go robotic. But
you know, when I worked for WULM here in Springfield, when I had that internship, I think I was like the first person in class to get an internship. But he used to, when I was recording radio spots, he would keep telling me, he's like, "No, that's a hard sell. Talk like you would be talking to me." I was like, "Listen, Malat, I talk to you the way I'm recording this. I may sound like I have a radio voice all the time, but that's just me. That's how I talk." It's just like Samuel L. Jackson there.
I think
this is how I
early
talk.
on.
You just see my movies.
I think we learned early on that if we didn't sound happy, then we were accused of being mad.
Grouchy.
Or moody. Yes, grouchy. And that's a trigger for me, is when people misperceive my calm.
And so what if I am? I have a right to be grouchy.
Yes. So
I wasn't, but I am now. Enjoy.
Yes.
This is what you asked for.
You know, honestly, my whole takeaway from all this, like, seriously, is that y'all needed heart dogs sooner in your life, because
y'all are assholes.
we all started this about, you know, Belle and Hiro and all that, heart dogs, all that, and now it's just gone into family therapy. And all I'm thinking is, like, y'all needed your dogs sooner in your life, because...
Well, can you imagine if we didn't have our pets?
Yeah. And
if you guys didn't have the pets, we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing this thing to begin with.
I wouldn't be alive. I'd be dead. I would literally have killed myself.
So my whole goal with my children is to make the world better because you're breathing. Look for ways to help others. Yeah. Don't make it all about you. Be honestly, the good that you want to see.
And the truth is, too, though, there's going to be times in your life where the best way you can make the world better is to close your mouth and maybe even retreat and don't interact, because
my husband says shut up in color.
If we go through enough things in life,
I like that.
If we go through enough things in life, you're going to be bitter for a while about certain things, and you're just not going to be able to contribute positively, and that's okay. Sometimes positive contribution is negative contribution.
I forget what you called it, but we do our thankfuls, our gratitudes. Like, I'm thankful for tampons, toilet paper, plumbing,
modern
showers, hot water, refrigerators, dishwashers. I'm thankful for a lot of things that someone else thought of and provided for me that make my life better because of it. Like, it's one less thing that I have to do. But every day at 3:00, we aim for 3 things that we are thankful for. And I swear it changes our mindset significantly.
Yeah, it changes your focus.
Every single day.
Rituals are good too. Having something predictable like that.
And I've done this since my oldest since she was like 2 years old, because every day around 3 o'clock, we would get hangry. Like,
I'm getting there myself.
Hangry doesn't even describe it, but it's enough to get the point across. But I was like, fine, if we're going to be like this, it was about 3 o'clock, except for the stupid time change. But we'd say, okay, so I'm feeling really mad. I feel really tired. I don't know. I don't know what I feel, but we try to name it,
Get in touch.
Which helps a lot. Yep. And we do our deep breathing. We change our vantage point, like we go outside or we go inside, depends on where we were and what was happening. But we'd try to change our viewpoint, and then we would acknowledge today. And what happened today, not yesterday or tomorrow, but right now, is being present and fully engaged. Is I'm thankful that I have a house that protects me from the rain or the snow, or
I do something similar, but it's not as formal. It's more of just a conscious flow of my mind. I just clear my mind and feel the sun and smell the breeze and accept what's good in life and quit worrying so much about the bad things. And I do that almost daily. Yeah, it's not so much verbal or conscious as intent and intentional. And the dogs teach me that, and that's part of what the hard dogs have done for me too, is stop myself and pull myself up to a higher perspective of what's really going on and seeing everything, not just the bad, not just the good. What are your advantages and disadvantages so we can use them to our advantage and to make good choices and get a new perspective.
Find something good to do.
Yeah, exactly. People sometimes have their nose to the grindstone too much. They have to raise up.
I've had preschool teachers and kindergarten teachers for my kids over the last 12 years print out and paste on their walls in school of consequences. That's something that nobody really likes. Is what is a consequence? And I tried to teach my kids this from day one is, if you do that, you're going to get hurt, right? It's cause and effect. But long term, it's consequences. And I would tell my kids a consequence is something good or bad that happens because of what I do. Not because someone else did something, which, yes, factors in, but ultimately what I do has a consequence, and it can be good or bad. And so we choose happy or sad.
Well, it's kind of like Tai Chi philosophy. You may not have invited a punch, but you can always absorb and redirect it. You don't have to take all the damage. And you don't have to attack back. You just absorb and deflect.
My middle one was easier to diagnose because he doesn't really comprehend blocking.
Yeah. But, I mean, so getting around to it, I mean, I think I'd like to thank all the animals in my life, and client dogs included, because I've had fish. Dogs that I don't own and live with. Every dog that's been in my pack, they're mine in my heart, my mind, and they just don't have to live with me. I don't have to possess an animal to love it. I don't need to own something. I own it in my heart. I connect with that. Yeah, Tribbles was
I didn't own Tribbles, but I taught her how to crawl.
Tribbles was my mom and dad's dog. One of our first bull terrier. Yeah, she was a sweet little goofball, and it just they're just the closest thing to a blessing I think exists in the world.
It all comes down to your mindset, what you choose to dwell on. And I like Harry Potter, where it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. You got to keep living. You got to keep moving forward.
Yeah. And it's not good enough to survive, but you must live.
Yeah.
I mean, Morgan Freeman, get busy living or get busy dying.
There you go.
Well, and to me, a surefire way to die is to quit learning. To me, life is learning, and I tell people, kids and young people, and they're worried about what profession they're going to pick. I was like, just pick one that connects with you right now, and be totally fine with changing it later. All it does is make you a more interesting person. It only makes you a more interesting person. It makes you more balanced and understanding. It makes you more capable for the next job, and just fall into stuff.
He was hell bent on being a pilot. Didn't get to go that route. Became an aeronautical engineer. Didn't like it. Became an ER doctor. Now he's wanting to be astronaut. So, hello. If you don't like it, do something else.
Is he 5?
I know. It doesn't want to be a cowboy
I
next.
was just going to ask. No. Yeah, that's my thought is like, wait, how old is this person and is this legal?
Yeah, policeman, fireman. Yeah.
No, I'm proud of him, but I look at my kids and I'm like, see, if you don't like it, go find something else you like. Just life is not over just because you chose something.
Yeah. You're never too old to change your career or your path or your.
You get to choose.
And even if you die soon after attempting, you don't need to finish. Nothing in life that's worth doing can be finished.
What did our dad call it?
A constant process.
Dad would call it McDonald's generation. Was we want everything right now. We delay the gratification because there was no delay of gratification. Is we want everything right now, as of yesterday. But just because you have a choice doesn't mean it's easy, and you might not like what it entails, but you do have a choice. Pretty sure that's what caused my 2 spine surgeries, right knee reconstruction, and my 2 uterine surgeries, is telling someone that they had a choice whether they liked it or not. So I will still tell that to anyone willing to hope for more. And that's what I keep telling myself, is that I have a choice. I can be miserable or I can keep moving forward and look for the good things.
It's like Kirk in the Kobayashi Maru. There's no no-win situations. It's always a way out. You always have a choice, even if it doesn't seem like it, or even if it's binary and you're forced into a choice, it's still a choice.
Oh, I thought you just meant the cheating part. You should just cheat the system.
That's a way to win.
A lot.
Cheating is a valid way to win. I'm sorry, it may seem immoral, but there are times where you should lie and it's the moral thing to do. There are times that stealing is a moral thing to do. There are times that killing is a moral thing to do.
Define it first, and then we'll talk about that. Define cheating, because that's a loose term.
Changing the rules of the game.
Not effective in marriage.
Ignoring rules of the game and breaking a rule in a game to win. But life isn't a game. Life is a competition. There's 2 different things. And it's sometimes about survival. If it's me or someone else, sometimes I'm going to pick me. And sometimes you got to pick them. We all have a choice for our own reasons, and a lot of them aren't really right-wrong choices.
No, they're gray areas, and that's where I struggle, because I like black and white.
Everyone likes black and white. Some people need it more than others. I prefer
things black and white.
It's much better if it's just A or B. But the problem is we have the whole alphabet to pick from, and it's all and that comes down to what is your focus in life, what's your goals and your points.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Yep. There you go. There's Tommy.
That is best in life.
That is best. Anyway, Conan the Barbarian, right? Yes. But anyhow,
I only know I annoy people because I tend to be more of that hippie of sorts. I mean, I've not tried cannabis or certain drugs. No recreational.
That's not directly related to hippieism.
I'm just covering the bases, but
it's live and let live and go with the flow.
Yes, I just want you to be nice to me. Like, I don't have to agree with everything you agree with.
That's
but
dudism.
You don't need to murder me, and I don't need to murder you. So can't we all just get along?
You should just join the Spishtian church.
It's
Spishtianity. It's the way to go. It's like hippies without the drugs.
Oh, I don't want to join now.
Well, you can have the drugs too, but it's not required. It's not intrinsic to the identity.
Oh, I thought that's what our membership cost covered, was all the drugs.
I wondered.
No, yeah, but just wanted to make sure we all express our thankfulness to all the animals in our lives, no matter what level they seem to be, if they're a hard dog or not. I think I sometimes am annoyed with the heart dog symbol, terminology, because they're all very special. But I think it's not necessarily the dog that winds up being a heart dog as much as the situation you're in and the openness of your mind and how much you need them. And because the more you need a dog and you expect them to fulfill that for you, the more they're going to step up. And that's what they're there to do, is to go along with the journey, to tolerate whatever they need to be there with you, and to brave the storm with you. And they're more than happy to do that. Trish worries about her dog suffering and being upset and upset when she's depressed and suffering because she can't walk them when she's tired or depressed. Is like, no, they may want to go do stuff, yeah, but ultimately what they want to do is be there for you. And
yes,
I think what you're interpreting as them being depressed that you're not walking them is not as much. They're depressed because you are too, not necessarily because, oh, I wish I could go for a walk today. They don't blame you for things.
Cry and you laugh with those who are laughing.
Yeah,
and you're
the
there
animals do that very well. Yeah, that's compassion. So anyway, with that, I think unless you have anything else to share about your idea of a heart dog, or with Tommy,
I've decided my heart animal is a chicken, honestly, because I absolutely love chickens.
Well, just and here's the thing: your dog may not be a heart dog, but I guarantee you, it's a fart dog.
Oh. That is like the worst thing you could have ended this episode on. Like, it could have ended any other way, but you did that. I'm pretty sure we just lost viewers. We just lost listeners. We just lost viewers. In fact, the person who made us that beautiful sign back there is probably going to call you and be like, give it back. And you know what? I'm going to charge you for what I did with it too now.
What that person's going to do is send me a new sign that says fart dog on it.
I swear, if somebody does that, we will have the most hardcore fan base ever.
The Fart Dog Podcast. Maybe that's what I should have called this. I would probably got more attention on YouTube.
Oh God.
But anyway,
abort.
With that,
abort.
Please
abort.
Please, in spite of the fart dog,
let me share my heart, because Belle, I feel like, helped me be a better helper. She was my helper, so I feel like I was able to help people as patients in dental offices, being just white knuckle patients, but with her just being there for other people, she really gave me that.
Yeah,
even more of
that's courage and
desire to do that. Yep.
They connect with and help everyone that's in their life, no matter what.
I didn't need to change the circumstances. I just needed to be there. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Just taking it. just dealing with it. Sometimes rolling with the punches is all you can do, and until you find a way out. But yeah, so please like and subscribe in spite of the fart dog comments, and don't forget to comment and share this video. Anyone, if you know anyone that this might help or connect with, and validate their experience, because I know that there's a lot of people that don't understand this concept of loving a dog this deeply, and so hopefully this makes you feel a little less alone, just like my heart dog did for me. And with that, that's the Captain Spish dog behavior. I've been Kyle Adams, aka Captain Spish. Felicia Kruse on the line here, my sister.
And Tommy, Dolan really starting to wonder what I'm doing with my life now.
Dolan's wonder what he's doing.
Chicken nuggets, fart dogs.
Chicken nuggets, heart dogs, fart dogs. And with that, that's been the Captain Spish Dog Behavior Podcast. And see us next time we're around.
Same bat time, same bat channel on YouTube. Well, Dog Time Dog Channel.
May a heart dog bless you.
Au revoir.
Bye.
It was unconventional, but it worked.
And I never tell clients, just like I never tell the dogs, not to be scared.
Unfortunately, dogs don't have the ability to just talk it out with you.
See, there's all kinds of different types of bites, but I'll get into that later. What's happened here? How did this start? How can I help you? You reward good behavior and you discourage or redirect bad behavior into good behaviors. Warm talk, anecdotes, stories, get to know me, get to know them. What you do or don't do with that dog, how you handle that dog, how you think and feel, and what you do with your thoughts and feelings around that dog. And it's going to be for the rest of that dog's life.
You can't just unplug the corgi and plug him back in. You know, I'm going to be open and honest about it. And that was like watching art.
Anyway.
And with that, we are going to get canceled.
Boom, boom. The more you know.
I'm canceling it.
I'm loving it.
Anyway.
It's chicken nuggets. All my kids want are chicken nuggets right now.